Once upon a time, in a noisy city full of rush and worry, lived a single father named Mr. Benson and his young son, Jackson. Life had not been kind to them. Jackson's mother had passed away years earlier, leaving Mr. Benson to play both roles, father and mother, while working long hours just to keep food on the table. Mr. Benson was strict, not because he was cruel, but because life had made him that way. Every day was a fight to survive. Every mistake felt expensive. And Jackson understood this more than anyone. One morning, Mr. Benson handed Jackson a small bundle of money. "This is your school fees," he said, his voice serious. "Keep it safe. I worked very hard for this." Jackson nodded. He felt proud, trusted, grown up, but pride can turn into panic very fast. On the way to school, Jackson reached into his pocket and felt nothing. The money was gone. His heart dropped straight into his stomach. He searched his bag, his pockets, the ground. He walked back and forth on the road, eyes scanning every inch like his life depended on it. But the money had vanished. By the time he reached school, his face was soaked with tears. When the teacher asked for the fees, Jackson could only shake his head and whisper the truth. "I lost it." The teacher felt sorry for him, but rules were rules. Jackson was sent back home. And that walk home? It felt longer than his entire life. He imagined his father's disappointment, the anger, the silence. Each step felt heavier than the last. That's when someone noticed him. By the roadside was a small food stall run by a woman named Madame Caroline. She sold simple meals and cookies, working from morning till night just to feed herself and her two daughters. She saw Jackson crying and called out gently, "My child, why are you crying?" Jackson tried to ignore her, but something in her voice felt warm. Safe. He walked over and told her everything. Madame Caroline listened quietly. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. She just understood. She knew what school fees meant. She knew how hard money was to earn. She reached into her pouch, the same pouch holding everything she had made that day, and pulled out the money. "Take this," she said softly. "Pay your school fees." Jackson froze. He looked at her hands. They were rough, tired, the hands of someone who worked too hard for too little. "I'll never repay you," he whispered. She smiled. "Just do well in school. That's enough." Jackson paid his fees. He went home. Life moved on. But one thing didn't move on. Kindness always keeps receipts. Months later, Mr. Benson's life changed overnight. A major business deal came through. Money poured in. The struggle ended. New house, new car, new life. But one day, while driving through the city, Jackson saw that street again. The stall. The woman. Gone. He finally told his father the truth about losing the money, about Madame Caroline. Mr. Benson was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "We'll find her." They tried. They searched. They asked. No one knew where she had gone. Years passed. Jackson grew up, studied hard, became a doctor, opened a hospital in the same city where his story began. And while his life went up, hers went down. Madame Caroline lost her husband. His family took everything. She and her daughters, Miracle and Lizzie, were forced to live in an unfinished building. No doors, no windows, just walls and hope. The girls dropped out of school. They sold fruits on the street. One terrible day, Lizzie was hit by a speeding car. She was rushed to a hospital. But there was a problem. No money, no treatment. By the time help came, Lizzie was gone. That loss broke Madame Caroline. She stopped eating, stopped working, stopped living. Miracle watched her mother fade day by day. With the little strength she had left, Miracle took her mother to another hospital. And that's when destiny blinked. A doctor stopped walking. He recognized the face. It was Jackson. He didn't hesitate. "I'll handle everything," he said. Only later did Miracle learn the truth, that years ago, her mother had saved this man's future with a single act of kindness. Now, He saved her mother's life. Madame Caroline recovered. They moved into Mr. Benson's house, and slowly, something else grew. Jackson and Miracle. Not because of money, not because of status, but because of shared pain, shared kindness, and shared hearts. But not everyone was happy. Mr. Benson wasn't. "She's not from our world," he said. "She'll hold you back." The words cut deeper than any knife. When Mr. Benson forced Miracle and her mother to leave, Jackson panicked. In desperation, he faked a serious illness to keep them close. The lie went too far. Miracle offered to donate her kidney. That's when Jackson broke. He confessed everything. And that confession broke Mr. Benson too. For the first time, he saw what real value looked like. Not money, not education, but sacrifice. Mr. Benson apologized. Miracle went to university, graduated with honors. Years later, Jackson and Miracle married. The woman who once sold food on the street now sat proudly at her daughter's wedding, and the boy who once lost his school fees finally repaid a debt that money could never cover. Because kindness always comes back, sometimes late, sometimes unexpected, but always full circle.